your child.
What you mean?
This is not your child. I'm just letting you know, so you won't, this is not your child.
So I've been paying child support on this man for what, 4 years, 5 years, and he telling me it's not my child?
Yeah, this is not your child, but I thank you for everything you're doing, but
Oh, baby, it ain't going down like that.
Why it's not? We about to go. I'm about to
Man,
take you,
look,
and we
bro,
about to just go.
I've been paying $700 a month for 4 years, bruh. You know how much that is?
But I'm just
That's like $8,400 a year. 4 years.
I'm letting you know so you won't get a DNA test that he's not your child.
Man, that's like $30-something thousand. But either you got the $30,000 to give me back, or it's gonna be an issue.
Well, we can work something out. Can we just work something out?
I mean, what you trying to work out, bro? Because that's $30-something thousand.
Plan or something. If you want to take me to court, feel me? I don't know, but I'm just letting you know. Because you said something about DNA test.
Yeah, something gonna happen because I ain't playing by no 30 racks. I ain't gonna lie. I don't care if child or not. I love him. But you telling me that ain't mine, so I don't care about none of that.
All right, we about to go then.
Man, yeah, but hey, look, to figure out how you gonna get my money.
All right.
You figure out how you gonna get my bread, though.
All right.
I am about to make a very unpopular statement. But first, let me say the first and most important thing here. The first and most important thing here is that this was not a conversation that should have been held in front of this child. This child should have never been privy to this conversation. Of course, other conversations would have had to been had with the child much later when cooler heads prevail, but this was not a conversation to be had by either of them in front of this child. Now, it would appear that the mother started the conversation by telling this man that he is not the father of the child because whether he told her then or she had been hearing rumblings that he was going to get a DNA test because he suspected something. She took that opportunity at that time frame to have this conversation in front of this baby, further traumatizing this child. We have to be very conscious about the things we do in front of our children that creates trauma. I'm not saying I've been perfect at it. There are some things I can look back on my past and say that I maybe should not have done this or that in front of my child, but nothing so heinous as to take a child who has been believing and been loving and been caring about this man as his father to find out in this situation that that's not his father and the primary concern is money. It makes the child put a value, a monetary value on themselves, that love has a monetary value. That's not for this child to be traumatized with. So that's the first thing. Not so shocking, but the most shocking part that people may disagree with is here. Men, and I don't care if you're married or not, before you sign that birth certificate, because when you sign the birth certificate, you are signing a government contract saying that you will be responsible for that child. So before you sign that birth certificate, get a DNA test. Before you even engage in a relationship with this woman or any woman, have the conversation to say that, look, it is not so much about trusting you. It is not so much about anything else, because right now I do trust you. But we never know what could possibly happen. I don't know you as well as you know yourself, and there are aspects of yourself that you don't know. But if we ever get in a situation where we're going to have a child, I will DNA test my child. That before I sign this birth certificate, I will DNA test the child. Because there are so many instances where a man is paying for a child in child support. A man develops love and affection and fatherhood for a child, and then only to find out whether it's 6 years later, 4 years later, 10 years, 18 years, 20 years later, that is not his child. That is not his biological child. He has not only been damaged financially, but more importantly, this man has been damaged emotionally. Trusting in other women have gone out the door. Trusting in humanity itself has gone out the door. If this man were to have another child with another woman, whether he gets the child DNA tested in the beginning or not, if he doesn't get the child DNA tested, he will always in his mind have the PTSD from what occurred in this incident. He is damaged goods for any other woman that wants to have a relationship with him. He has to work through that prior to getting into a relationship. And even when he gets into the relationship, because we always think that we're good, but it's not until you're faced with that situation again will you realize that there is still more work to be done. So any woman that's with him is going to have to work through that situation as well. This is how trauma works. When you date a woman and she's been through some things, she may seem like she's overcome those things when you first start dating her. But then as y'all developing your relationships and some similarities of previous trauma starts to rear its head, or a situation looks similar, you then have to deal with that trauma. So it is best to try to acknowledge all those things from the very beginning. But I will say this. I'm 52, so it's not a concern of mine. But I have taught my son that before you sign that birth certificate, get a DNA test. Ensure that that is your child. Make sure the woman that you are having relationships with understand that this is a prerequisite. This is not anything to be talked about or looked over, that this is something you will do, whether she agrees or not. Because this is a true situation that people have to deal with. And if that means that the woman says that, oh, well, I don't want to be with you at all, then okay. Don't be with that woman. In the same way that people get, they get out of relationships because someone says they want a prenup. You don't meet the standard. And if a person doesn't meet your standard, then there's no reason for you to be with them. But men, to avoid this situation, get a DNA test before you sign that birth certificate. Because that birth certificate is a legal binding contract. Always remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.